All right guys, so we're back here at Timms Harley Davidson to review another custom motorcycle that they've done here in-house. This is a 2020 Heritage Softail, although you probably would have a hard time telling that by looking at it. So they've done custom wheels, custom paint, custom bars, custom seat, custom exhaust, and one more thing. Air ride suspension. So just kind of walking around this bike, we'll start with the bars here. I think these are the 14-inch Carlini bars. Probably the most well-known bar for this style of bike in the industry. They're not cheap, guys, but I mean, they do look really, really good. They feel super good. For my height, right around 5'11"-ish. Perfect pullback, perfect height. Kind of puts my arms right at parallel, which is where I like to be. You've got your air ride control switch right here. They've done some drop mirrors too, because one thing I hate is when you've got nice looking bars and then you've got a big mirror sticking up. Moving around to the front. So these are the Harley Lights that come on the Heritage. These look really, really good. So nothing changed here. Big 21-inch spoke wheel on the front of this bike, the fat spokes. I kind of think that's like a must for bikes like this. I can't imagine another wheel that would work as well as these work. You can see the paint. This is one of those bikes I think all Harley guys, especially salesmen, say, oh, you got to see this one in the sun. This is definitely one of those bikes. I'm not sure if the camera is picking this up or doing it justice, but this was a custom paint job, custom Saddleman seat. I just rode this bike. That thing feels really good, and it looks good too. I like a nice low profile seat, and as you can see, that achieves that. It keeps the same lines of the bike, super clean, and there is a passenger pillion that can attach back there if you do have a passenger on here. So like I said, typically not a fan of the fishtail exhaust, but on this bike, it really seems to work. And because they're so long, I was worried about them scraping, but I never really ran into that when I was riding it. So I think it's fine. But I will say I did ride it with the suspension. The air suspension was all the way up, so I'm sure that had something to do with it. The chrome rotors also just really set this bike off. I guess you can't really do a custom wheel and leave the factory rotor. So I've always been a big fan of this style of bike. Typically it's done on a Heritage or a Deluxe, some type of Softail. The big bars, the spoke wheels, I've never liked fishtails except for this style of bike. The paint, just the whole thing just kind of pulls together to make a really, really good, clean look. And it rides exactly how it looks. It's just smooth, comfortable, kind of laid back riding style.
So this is one of those times where I wish I was rich, because I'm in the position where like I can't have multiple bikes, but I wish I could, because although I like riding aggressively, I also like today's Sunday, I would love to have a bike like this in my own collection. It's just like a chilled, laid back bike. I mean, don't get me wrong, you still have the 114 cubic inch engine on this bike, so there's still plenty of get up and go. Like, it still is a performance based bike, but this riding style with the air suspension and the bars and stuff, it's more catered to more of a kick back, relaxed type style when you just kind of want to cruise, you know, a nice sunny Sunday. So like I said, if I could have, you know, multiple bikes, I would absolutely, without a doubt, have a Heritage or Deluxe built like this one. I absolutely love this thing, man. And it's more of a head turner bike with this paint job, which is typically not my style, but on this bike, like, it just works. Like, this bike is weird because it's very much a look at me bike, and at the same time it's not. Like, it's low key, it's subtle, but man, this thing rides so good. These pipes aren't overly loud, and I'm not a huge fan of the fishtail look, but I'm telling you, on this bike it just seems to work. Now, I do have the air ride all the way up, like as high as it will go, and that's just because since this isn't my bike, I'm kind of worried about scraping the exhaust pipes. So I've got it all the way up. I may drop it down just a little bit in a second to see if I notice like a difference in the ride quality. But like I said, really concerned about scraping these pipes. I mean, given all the modifications done to this bike, you know, the bigger front wheel and whatnot, like, it really does ride and handle well. Like, it doesn't feel stock. That's not the word, but it's put together in a way that everything just kind of works. And I do like a taller bar. I kind of like my arms to be parallel when I'm riding. So, I mean, these, like I said, I think these are 14-inch, and I get the irony that I'm making a review video and I don't have the exact specs of these bars, but I think these are the 14-inch, and that puts me right at parallel, and that's where I'm most comfortable. So I do have a motocross background, and obviously the bars wouldn't be this tall, but I do like my shoulders up, you know, I like my hands kind of parallel. So these bars feel really good. This seat actually feels really good too. I love the low profile look, and I was kind of worried that with that low profile, you're going to sacrifice some of the cushion and some of the ride quality. So I can't vouch for this seat for long distance. Obviously, we're not going to go that far. We're just on the typical test ride loop today that Timms does if you're looking to buy a bike from them. But it does feel really good right now. So that's all I can testify to. Yeah, the suspension feels pretty good. I mean, like I said, we're all the way up, so I would assume, you know, the bag is at max capacity, which you would think makes the suspension pretty rough, but it still feels pretty dang good. I don't think I've ever ridden a bike with air ride suspension, not that I can recall. So I wasn't sure what to expect in the turns, but I mean, honestly, this thing feels like it's handling like I said, a stock bike, man. A lot of get up and go with the 114. I do like this motor a lot. It'd be hard for me to get anything less than that. And one thing I like about the 114 is it's got so much power that you don't necessarily need to add any more power. I do like a stage 1 on all of my bikes, so intake, exhaust, and a tuner, and that's just to let it breathe a little bit more. And you do squeak a tiny bit more power out of that, but this motor doesn't need more power. It does, you know, this one's been opened up with the exhaust and whatnot, so it does breathe like I like it, but I like that because you're not going into the engine. You know, if you're buying a new bike and you buy the parts from Harley and you have Harley install it at the time of purchase, in most cases it doesn't void your warranty or do anything to your warranty. So there is that, but I mean, a lot of us are out here buying secondhand bikes and, you know, that haven't been torn into. That's what I like. You know, I don't want to buy a bike that someone else has torn into unless I really, really know where the work was done, who did it, just because you never know what you're going to get. You know, I'm very mechanically inclined, been around bikes my whole life. I have no business tearing into a Milwaukee 8 engine and doing any type of internal upgrades. So you definitely wouldn't want a bike that I had worked on. So for that reason, if I'm looking at used bikes, I don't like the bikes that have been opened up, you know, the engine cases. So the 114 kind of gives you that. There's no need to. I mean, obviously, if you've got the means, I go for it. Bigger's better. Do the 131 kit. Why not? But this one, anything over what the 114 has is literally just to do it. I mean, you do not need any more power than what this makes, and I'm all for it. I mean, 300 horsepower baggers like Kendall Johnson puts out, sure, why not? But overall, this bike, like I said, I would own this bike if I was in the place where I could just have multiple bikes. This thing rides amazing, looks amazing, and it's completely different than anything else that I would have, say like performance bagger or, you know, a high performance Dyna. Like I said, it's a cruise bike. It's just different, you know. This is something you throw your passenger pillion on, throw a passenger on the back, and just take off for the day, cruise. Also, fellas, really good cheap date, a motorcycle ride. Man, I mean, a tank of gas, and obviously you stop and grab some food, but you can make a whole day out of going absolutely nowhere. You know, you just ride back roads, country roads. I don't like to ride super busy roads anyway. So, I mean, you just go for a nice ride, like out through the country. If you do have somewhere to put it, take your lunch. If not, you know, find somewhere cool to stop for lunch. But really cheap, good date idea. So we're getting back towards the dealership now. Yeah, this is a bike I wouldn't mind staying on a little longer. It is a little chilly today, but I would have no problem, you know, putting a little more miles on this bike. I've just got other things I've got to do. Super grateful to Timms Harley Davidson here in Anderson, South Carolina, for letting me ride these bikes and do these reviews for you guys. So you get a review out of it. I get to ride awesome bikes. So it's a win-win situation. And I hate to be that guy, but I do need to ask you guys to subscribe. I should have mentioned in the beginning of the video, but I forgot. I'm going to be doing a giveaway at 100 subscribers. I'm not 100% sure yet, but I'm thinking a $100 Harley gift card that's good for any dealership would be a pretty good gift. So that way anybody can use it anywhere. I have to figure out how the winner will be chosen. Obviously needs to be somebody subscribed to the channel, so it'll be based around that. But like the video, subscribe, share, do all the YouTube stuff. As always, thanks for watching, guys. Catch you next time.